Hello everyone and welcome to a Create with Kiely art video. In this video, we will be doing an acrylic painting study in which we take a look at how to paint a forest of trees, how to get that texture of many things overlapping, how distance, depth, and perspective affects color. And we're going to be painting in acrylic paints today. So I am using a visual reference of a forest with trees. I think it's from Forest Products Association of Canada. It's about a forestry is sustainable, blah, blah, blah. We're not really interested in the website. We're just interested in this gorgeous photograph of the Rocky Mountains. If you can find the visual reference and have that off to the side as you paint with me, it's on www.fpac.ca. I can take no credit for this photograph. I'm just trying to show people how to paint today, at least do my best. I've measured it out right now. It's an inch in from all the outside edges. And then from your bottom line, it's 6.5. You can tape it, de-stick your tape. We do this because the final product just looks so much nicer. We have a full palette today of paints, all our primary colors, plus black and white. And I'm choosing to work with the brighter yellow because when I look at the visual reference, I see yellow that are in the trees in the foreground that I won't be able to get with the ochres. Okay. Open image in a new tab. This might take us 2 days to do. It's a little bit more complicated than the previous videos that we've done. Oops. Let's pencil in our main necessary things. We've got a very lovely diagonal line of treetops that start in a top corner. You've got the visual reference. And then we've got the Canadian Rockies. There's one mountain face that goes forward, and I'm just really lightly getting these down. There's the valley, and then the snow-topped mountain, which is a little further back. And goes down. We're not going for photographically perfect. The goal today is to get the texture of the forest. Okay, kids, my high achievers who really push themselves for perfectionism, we're going for the texture of the forest. When you're doing a landscape painting or any painting for that matter, you want to work from the background to the foreground to build the colors forward to the viewer. So we've got this lovely, pasty, soft gray blue. So you get your palette, you got your water, you grab a stick of juicy fruit. Taste is gonna move ya. All right. I'm going for a small, medium, flat head brush. You pick whatever you wish. It is your adventure, whatever you feel more comfortable painting with. And I'm going to draw. I got to watch out. The yellow is very feisty today and splattered. Oh, that's dried up. Good enough. Splattered all over the place. I'm going to take in my white and then just a little bit of blue. Blue is more powerful than white is. And yep, some yellow did get in there. Oh, that's all right. I don't want to. And it is toned down quite a bit. So I'm going to add just like a pinprick's worth of red to see how that tones it down. Maybe 2 pinpricks. I've done landscapes before, and the more you do these things and build up your experience, you know kind of what to expect. And I was often surprised when learning how to paint landscapes. More often than not, things are purple. Just different shades of purple. So adding red to cool calm, the vibrancy, the saturation of the blue is a good thing. And we're going to reuse this color in the mountains. So I'm testing out my colors on my adjacent page. That is still super saturated. I'm looking at painting the sky first because that's the furthest thing away from me, the viewer. All right. So I've blocked out the areas where the trees and mountains are going to go. And I am not terribly concerned about the edge of the trees. They're going to overlap the sky anyway, so I can go in over it a bit. It's just the first layer. Pop some white in there for the clouds because they're misty. So it's not a solid fill. It's got some nice textures to it. Perhaps our day's a little sunnier than when the picture was taken. Taking some artistic liberties and adjusting it. So these mountains are quite contrasting with the background, which is a lighter value. So let's take not just our solid black. Like, yeah, they're pretty dark, but they're not all the way black. I'm going to take my red and blue. I know that there's purple in there. Do some of that white on my brush. You can see what I'm doing. Yes, good. And I'm going to even pop in some yellow. There we go. I don't think I want too much black at all. You can do so much with just the three primary colors. If it's too green, add red. If it's too red, add yellow and blue. And you just play around with the, like in my head, I have this value chart, this thing that I can pull on and manipulate. That's not too shabby. I'm happy with that. It's a nice contrast. This is why it's important to do those color swatches so you can see how does it relate to the colors around it. So please, if you're not already in the habit of doing color swatches, please get on that. All right, I probably did not mix enough. And I'm going to add that white snow cap effect later. I'm not going to bust my head trying to work around all those snowy spots because, again, this is a study and we are limited in our time. And yeah, I didn't make enough. Oh, that's empty. Use the roll right there by your hand. Your hand, yeah, you brushed it. I'm listening. Red, blue, and yellow, the three primaries. Yeah, I'm just mixing them together. There was some white in there. I'm using the three primaries. And there's probably leftover white on my brush from making of the clouds because I don't wash my brush all that often. Again, the reason why color swatches are important is that, look, I didn't mix enough. I'm testing out my color. Oh, it's far too red, not enough white. So I'm going to pull up those things and bring them over. Make sure that I get the right color. I'm just trying to teach you good painting habits. It's up to you to take those skills and make your beautifulness shine. Oh. That's better. Okay. So I'm working particularly on the mountains that are off on the side here. I can see that they've got that richer color and that they lighten as it crests and goes back down. So I'll get that little valley. You need to look at mountains as if they were pyramids, I guess. Squashed, flat, funny shaped pyramids, but pyramids nonetheless, where there's facets, where there's planes. So I noticed here there's a darker plane and then it crests and goes back over. So I need the lighter version of it all. I don't like this small palette. It's a little too purple. I am breaking into the black there. Just calming it down. There we go. Now these mountains do have very crisp edges against that sky. So make sure that your brush strokes, that your edges are nice and clean and crispy. We'll get fluffy later, my friends, but not right yet. I too need to remember that this is just a study. Okay, let's move forward to the next range. The really dark area here, the super snowy mountains are there. And then there's this next mountain that's closer to us. This had like a fade out. So to get that fade looking light, this has to be dark again. So let's make this mountain crispy. Let's also mix enough paint on our palette to go the distance. I am cracking into the black a little bit to gray it down, but it's never the pure black. Let's All right. I'm just getting the base layer down. And it's nice because I can go right over top of what I had put before, and then I know that my paper's being properly covered. Up here, careful not to do what I just did. That's quite dark up here. So I'm just looking at dapping in the darkest areas, and then I'm going to add and build up. And maybe I'm not even painting these accurately, but I can go over them with the next color. I see a lot more green down this mountainside because it's getting closer to us, the viewer. We're starting to see a bit more of their true colors, and I'm mixing them after I get that first color down. I'm mixing it on the same spot where I mixed the previous paint. Starting to see hints of green, and it's still very dark. Let's lighten it a bit. There we go. Well, that's nice, eh? Try to get your brush strokes to mimic that face of the mountain. I see this one going down this way, so I'm going to paint in that direction. This other one comes down to meet it. Let your paint strokes, the direction that you paint in, assist you in telling the story about what you're trying to represent here. And you might have a lucky moment where it just kind of works for you. That's the wrong value. I like to paint with my acrylics wet on the page, and then I can mix and blur with it right there on the paper and just kind of let it naturally happen. Light, dark, light, dark. Start noticing the patterns. Light up here. Right on the crest. Over here. You can use the dry brush to repeat colors. Do layers of things to repeat the color to bring all the different mountainscapes that we've done into some sort of unity. So I'm dry brushing over what I did previously to create that sense of unity, to repeat the color. I do like the dry brush technique over top of these mountains where I put that really dark purple, and it adds a really nice natural looking texture, like a rocky texture, where you let the purple peek through your brush strokes. You can even go back over the light, like just once you get that nice unifying color, just smear it on over different spots. But it's about the brush strokes, like getting the texture going in the right direction. What are you supposed to be your green? So as I go down into the valley of this mountainscape here, I've incorporated a little bit more green, growing things. It's low enough for things to grow on it. A little bit more soil buildup, so I have more of a hint of green there. So I've got the darkest main chunks of my mountain laid out. I'm going to switch to a smaller brush to start playing around with the lighter values, the snow caps, the misty effect, and all of that jazz on the mountain. So I'm gonna hop in there. Ooh, white. And I'm purposefully picking like a little dirtier spot of my white. It's been sullied by other colors. It's not the pure, crispy, straight out of the tube white. And I'm going to carefully start putting down the snow. So I'm looking at the snow on the caps of that, the far caps of that mountain, and I'm looking at the basic shapes that I kind of see, and almost with like a stipply effect. Where does the snow go? I want it broken. I don't want perfect brush strokes. Just kind of dabbing it on, even allowing a dry brush effect to occur as I use up the paint that's already there. You can even create some more new plains. So it's really these mountains in the back here that have the most snow. I see a little bit of it over here. I don't want it to be super light though, because the sun's not glinting off it. I see like a little patch of snow here. It just doesn't want to give up. It's probably in shadow and the sunshine doesn't quite get it. There's another video that I created that's different artistic techniques with acrylic paints, and one of them was a wash where you water down your color to make it somewhat transparent, and you can affect and tweak things. So water down this light color that you have. It may go on more opaque than you expect, but when it dries, it will show the color underneath a little bit more. And I'm going to, there's no snow on this the mountain that's closest to us, but there's definitely some white highlights. I'm going to use a wash of that gray dirty white and pull up some more of those highlights to add the details, to give the texture of the mountains. I'm not thinking too hard. I'm just adding to what I've already put down. Maybe find a brush stroke that you've done and you want to kind of accentuate it. I don't like this spot right here. Same thing with the dark. You can find a couple of those tops of those mountains where they seem quite, I don't know, quite dark to me. The very tops. We're spending a lot of time on these mountains. How are we? No, it is not 9:30 already. Son of a gun. Okay, we're going to keep our lives simple. We're going to reduce our stress. And today's goal is just the mountains. Okay, tomorrow we'll look at the trees. Okay, so take a deep breath. Don't look at those trees. Spend the next, what do we have? We have 20 minutes left in class. Just picking away at these mountains. How does that sound, kiddos? Because we don't want to leave the classroom feeling stressed. We want to leave feeling like we've successfully accomplished something. That's my goal as a teacher. So I'm just bringing in this darker value and I'm picking away at a couple spots, just like I did with the white, really not too much. It's a dirty black. Get a little troop of dwarves, hobbits, maybe a wizard in gray robes on the mountainside. Can't do paintings of mountains without thinking of the Fellowship. This is actually an individual mountain range here. The more you stare at it, the more you see the different planes of the mountains. And then I realize I've added okay, so I'm going to stop my video and come visit you guys. For all my watchers out there, my dedicated fans, I hope you enjoyed watching this video, part 1 of how to paint mountains in a forest with acrylic paints. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for painting a forest. Remember, my friends, stay awesome and be creative. Until next time.